Aren't you taking a pause from dancing on the ceiling to just dance on the floor all night long? 8:42 here. It's 18 here before 9. Advisory services offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions voiced and information provided in this material are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments are appropriate for you, please consult with a financial advisor. Second Half Financial Partners, LLC does not provide tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax or legal advisor regarding your particular situation. It's time. Check in and find out what's going on money-wise around Wall Street and the world this morning. Phillip Statler from Statler Financial Services is on the line this morning. And, Phillip, I just don't think we gave a fig about all the Fed policy and Fed worries and Trump's war with the Fed governor. We had a pretty good day yesterday, it looks like.
We did, Dave. It was with all the news out there and really no earnings report much yesterday. It did end up being a pretty good day yesterday, and we should be thankful for that. It looks like right now the futures are fading a little bit from earlier this morning, and they're really about neutral as we head into the trading day, at least right now.
Well, it wouldn't be uncommon to have a green day followed by a neutral day. I prefer those to red days. My computer monitor's going away here for a second as I try to fix it. It's not back yet.
So here's where we are, Dave. So here's where we ended up yesterday. The Dow Jones Industrial ended up 0.3% to $45,418. The S&P 500 was up 0.4 or $26 and closed at $6,466. And the NASDAQ was up a little over 0.4% to 21,544. Big winner yesterday was the Russell 2000, up a little over 0.8%. That was almost a little over $19 to $2,358. So a pretty good day across the board.
Absolutely, and thank you for riffing, because it gave me a chance to walk to the other end of the studio and unplug the monitor, and plug it back in. I'm back again. You have your internet challenges, I do too sometimes. The big news is floating on, and we're holding on our hands, sitting on whatever we need to sit on, because the major national holiday of the reporting season comes out after the close today. NVIDIA, the company nobody ever heard of 5 years ago, is now the biggest market cap company in the nation, and they're supposed to absolutely slay their results, everybody promises. I mean, it's even bigger news than Taylor Swift getting engaged.
Well, Taylor Swift, she can make some news now.
That's for sure. I don't know what kind of a market move it is, other than the fact that jewelry stores ought to be happy because she had a 9-carat ring worth $1 million on her fingers. So at the very least, the jewelry business ought to be happy. Everybody's going to want to buy one just like hers, don't you know?
Just like hers, that's right. Yeah.
That's it. Other than that, yeah, we're waiting on NVIDIA. That's going to be the big market move for the day, and it's going to come after the market closes. But we got to make mention, because we were chattering about that before we went on the air. I still think it was a scam, just looking for free publicity, but Cracker Barrel has caved, and they're going to go back to the old guy with the barrel on their logo again. The world is a safe place to eat comfort food again. Are you happy or what?
Well, it just shows that maybe voices are heard occasionally, and it could have been a ploy, like you said. But more and more companies they try to they think they need to modernize things, and that's not what drives business. A matter of fact, as in this case, it can actually repel business sometimes.
I was going to say, right in the middle of the atmosphere in the country right now with the Buy American, Don't Get Woke culture element that we've got here. But the dumbest thing I can think a marketing department deciding to do is try to neutralize a kitschy all-American logo like that. I mean, maybe it is a good idea, just not the timing at this point in time. And the world had a hissy fit, and like I was saying, I still think it was a ploy to get a whole bunch of brain-dead disc jockeys like me to talk about it for a week or so. You can't buy that kind of exposure.
This is true. Hey, but we had a couple other things that came out yesterday after you and I got off the air. We had the consumer confidence number come out. It was a little less than last month, but better than expected. So that could have helped the markets a little bit. And then the S&P Case-Shiller Home Price Index came down from 2.8 in May to 2.1% increase in the month of June. So they're a couple months back in trying to get their numbers put together, but and that was less than it was expected as well.
That's intriguing. Yeah, the consumer confidence number might explain the little hiccup that I saw about 10 yesterday morning. The major indexes took a short dive about 10 a.m. and then all of a sudden thought the better of it and then pretty much climbed steadily, mostly for the rest of the day. So there came our positive number. But boy, at the beginning of the day, we weren't all that terribly optimistic. Evidently, we digested the information quickly and went forward. Other stuff going on this morning in the process. The mortgage applications came in off just a little bit from last week, but the refi number was interesting. It was down by 4% as mortgage rates notched up by like 0.1% last week, but it's up like 19% over last year. And the average mortgage people are applying for this past week, $493,400. That's the highest it's been in a couple of months. It just absolutely boggles my mind, the idea of almost $500,000 for the average mortgage written in this country last week.
Yeah, that's crazy. And the payment on that, I can't imagine.
Now, yeah, these interest rates, I'm sitting there saying I was so happy to have bought a house back in 2003 when property values were cheap around here. It's amazing. Other news that'll probably start getting front and center a little bit later on. Apple has announced the annual unveiling of its new iPhone and iOS 26. They're changing the names of their operating system by year now. They're going to do that. They set the time for September 9th, and we're only about 2 weeks away from that. So all the Apple fanboys are going to be going crazy over that, wouldn't you think?
I think so. You know, it always draws attention to what's it going to do, how's it going to be better, you know, what's the improvements that are made, is it worth upgrading? You know, those are all the things that run through people's minds as they watch that presentation of the unveiling of Apple's new product line.
Absolutely. And the fact that they actually did recover enough when Apple reported their quarterly results, they recovered enough with iPhone sales to the point where it seemed to kind of put the market at ease for the moment on the concerns that Apple's becoming kind of a one hard product company.
And you know, they kind of are, right? The iPhone is really the leader of their stable of different products, and their some of their I mean, their watches probably are up there too. But again, you know, some of their other stuff, their MacBooks and those type of things, I think you know, aren't really. I mean, they're supporting, but they're not really giving them the big boost that would be helpful.
Yeah, in terms of bulk sales, I mean, you know, when we look at their numbers, you know, iPhone drives Apple, and everybody was concerned when their quarter was coming out because the 16 didn't, by rumors anyway, become a major butt hit. But evidently, they sold enough of them to feel good, and that gives some optimism for the 17. And who the heck knows if they'll ever get AI together? Quarterly reports out from the publicly traded companies. Kohl's has been on the ropes lately. We were gabbing before we went on the air that my wife, when we used to be a major Kohl's groupie, last time we went up to a Kohl's, she was really disappointed, and that was 6 years ago. Been kind of floundering, but I gather they're recovering now, huh?
Well, they had a really good quarter. When we look at the numbers, they came in at 56 cents a share versus 29 as expected. Revenue was a little bit ahead of their anticipated number, and so it has them trading up almost 20% this morning. Yeah, they were up as much as 21% earlier. And I found it interesting because I kind of read their dialogue and some of their earnings report. You know, their issue's been their CEO. They had a decent CEO, and that CEO left to become the president of Levi Strauss and eventually became the CEO. And so they lost that one. They thought they hired somebody good. They brought him over from Michaels, and so they thought that was Ashley Bachman was going to be a good deal. And 2 years into that role, they found out that he was pushing deals with vendors that were owned by his girlfriend. And so they fired him. And so it's just been, kind of a roller coaster since that time. And so they're still looking for a permanent CEO. And so
which is kind of why when you said the problem was their CEO, my knee-jerk reaction was, what CEO, huh?
That's right. Exactly. So, but they are making some improvements. They're upgrading quality of their product line. The other thing is they've partnership with I just went blank on the name of the big cosmetic group, Sephora. So I know I won't say it right. And they have now put one. I think they'd done it kind of as a test. Well, now they're putting those in every store. And I think that's going to draw people there. I know people that are ladies that's their go-to when it comes to cosmetics. And so I think that may drive people into the store, and that may be helping too.
Good. And it's nice to see one of the major names that's been kind of sandwiched between the deep discounters and the premium stores doing well, because that was the problem Penny's had, and we know what happened to them. So Kohl's survival could be nice to see. Any other tidbits you got quickly out of the reporting companies before we go to the futures?
So the other one I have is Abercrombie & Fitch is one. They narrowly beat on everything and across the board. They're trading down about almost 6% this morning on some different metrics that just aren't quite measuring up. And I would leave you with this one because it's one of the ones I pay attention to out there is Box.com. It's one of the cloud-based systems, and they beat by 2 cents a share, came in at 33 cents. Revenue ahead of expectations. They also raised their full-year revenue guidance. Some good news there. So they're trading up right now at $32.97. That's 5.8% better than where they closed.
Cool. Like seeing good news on any issue that reports. Resetting the table, it was generally green ink yesterday on the major indexes, 45 minutes before we go this morning. How are we looking?
Dave, everything's become a tinge of red. And I mean a slight tinge, but I'd call it maybe pink even. The Dow Jones Industrial 30 is negative $2.60. I mean, that's where we're at right now. The S&P 500, $1 down. The NASDAQ 100 down 13. Russell 2000 down 6. So everything's down, but just barely at this point. On the other side of the coin, we got silver down 0.7. And then gold is down almost 0.1%. The only thing ticking up right now is crude oil. It's up on almost 0.5% this morning to $63.52 a barrel, which is a little less than yesterday morning.
Yeah, we'll take the 63 range for a little while. If it wiggles around there, I can almost live with it. Overseas markets, something happened in the Asian rim. The mainland Chinese markets were off precipitously at the end of their trading day. Everything else was up in the Asian rim. Europe generally optimistic on balance. The average European index up between, on average about 1/3% up. We have a couple of the markets that are not having great days, but by and large, Europe is doing okay halfway through their trading day. Getting my retirement together is a project that takes some expert eyes. How do I find you to turn my retirement dreams into retirement plans, Phillip?
Dave, I'd love to help people do that. We offer 30 minutes of our time on the phone just to see where people are, what they may need to do to accomplish their goals. Love to talk with them. They can give us a call at 863-382-0037 to schedule that 30-minute call. And then join us this weekend for the Statler Financial Radio Show, 6 a.m. at noon on Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday morning on Highlands News Talk, 7:30 a.m. and 95.3 FM.
All righty, and you and me back again tomorrow morning right here to tell everybody what happened today and is likely to affect their money tomorrow. Have a good day, my friend. We'll see you then.
All right, buddy. You too. Take care.
Thank you. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services. Phillip Statler.
Hey, folks, again, I want to thank you for joining us today. Hope your week is going well. Join me again tomorrow. Take care. Bye now.